So I was just saying what is most important. I have to acknowledge the UW System grant support of podcasting. I could probably also acknowledge a UW System grant that supported introducing clickers to our university in a big way. Several people had been using clickers because publishers pushed them. But the grant actually instigated, if you will, a large number of users. Okay. I need to see the presentation. If my voice is okay, is it?
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
Sounds pretty good. Okay, so let's move on to the presentation. I don't know where I left it, but the very first slide after the introductory one, which you can click to next, is in fact a clicker question. I was asked to make an interactive presentation so that the audience can participate. So I have a couple questions. You can click. Oh, there you go. Okay, so I want to know what area of, or what discipline you teach in. So if you would answer the question, teach classes in, and then pick the one that best suits you. And I have trouble seeing the count going up. In fact, I don't see it doing anything. Even if it did, I don't see any real numbers. So I rely on someone down there to tell me that it's working. Is it?
Yes.
Okay, can I click to the next one? You? Okay, we're going to close off polling and see what we get. Mostly out of curiosity. I teach in the natural sciences. I'm a biology teacher, and you'll get a dose of that in a moment in the form of some sample slides. I don't see a switch. There we go. So most of you are other. Interesting. And a handful of you are also teaching in the natural sciences or the social sciences. Okay, so next slide, please.
What channel are we on?
41.
See that as a problem? So I am telling you that I do post my PowerPoint presentations and always have, at least ever since I started using PowerPoint. I post them online before class, and I tell the students that they can, I'm supposed to look at that microphone, or at that camera. I post my PowerPoint and tell the students to print them out, read per page. If you're familiar with PowerPoint, gives them a kind of note-taking page that they can come to class with. So I always like to do that. So I want to know whether you do that, and if there's enough answers, you can click at any time. You did, okay? So most of you don't. Well, okay. I don't know what to say about that. I was hoping more of you did. Because the next part of the presentation outlines some of the issues that I face in doing this. So if you'll click one more time. The more clicks should show you keeping current. If you use clickers, if you use TurningPoint, you would discover that as you revise your lectures, well, we're one ahead, but that's okay. As you revise your lectures, I ended up revising my clicker lectures, and pretty soon my PowerPoint got out of date. This is especially true if you change textbooks, and all of a sudden you have to change some of the images on your PowerPoint, which you took from the old textbook. You have to change it to the new one. The PowerPoints are no longer really current. That is apart from any modifications you do to the presentation itself to improve it. So if you do use clickers, what do you post? You can't post the clicker presentations, obviously. Or at least I say obviously, because I don't want to give away my questions before we meet in class. So what do I post? Next slide will give a summary of my 3 semesters of using TurningPoint in my classes. So one more click. I don't know if you clicked or not. I know that it's at the late. So I've outlined 5 things that happened over time, and I'm going to go through those 5 things, hopefully fairly quickly. First, I started out with my PowerPoint. The non-clicker presentations, and from that I developed clicker presentations, modifying them by adding clicker questions, right, TurningPoint questions. In order to revise something to post, I basically do a reverse conversion. I had to take my newest TurningPoint presentations and do something to them, basically strip the questions and modify them slightly so that they became PowerPoints that I posted. In the course of doing that, I realized that I had created a kind of learning object which I called clicker sets, and I'll say more about that when we get to them. And then, using the monies from the new grant that we got last year, I actually started to do some video recording and ultimately podcasting. So that's what I'm going to tell you about. And if you can go to the next click, I'm going to show you my first PowerPoint, my non-clicker presentation. Just what I used to present to give you a sense of what I had to start with. And if you go to the next click, I'm going to show you, just take you on a quick tour. I won't try to teach you my biology necessarily, but take you on a quick tour of what I used to show. So I had some introductory information on a first slide of a group of slides. This is part of a lecture, not a whole lecture. I don't know where you have to click one more. Okay, there you go. And I'm teaching them about something called monomers and polymers and telling them that the structure of the cell and what the cell can do requires the interaction of big molecules, macromolecular interactions. And then I tell them that macromolecules are in fact mostly polymers. And I try to tell them that polymers are made from small units that are repeating in the structure of this big molecule. And the small units are called monomers. So this is all information. And then I want to tell them about how we consume macromolecules when we eat, how we break them down to monomers, and use them to reconstruct, if you will, our cells. So that's where we're headed with this. Next click, please. And in order to do this, I would connect some of the familiar information that they may already know with what I want to tell them that's probably going to be new to them. And a little different than I had. Let's see. There you go. So cells use these small monomeric molecules both as nutrients to get energy, and they use them as building blocks for large molecules. And now you can click to the next one. It says connecting the familiar with the new. I gave them some information. I want to now connect this new information and build on it, but connect it to things that they already know about. So if you ate, I tell them that they ate something, and what they did is they ate a plant, and it's made of macromolecules. Ate a veggie burger full of macromolecules. First thing we have to do is break them down, and that is called catabolism as a component of metabolism, which I tell them. Next click. And I ask them, okay, so how do you do catabolism? And now here's where I'm connecting new stuff with old stuff. How do you do this? The next click should show the answer. Now, when I ask this question, of course, I call on someone in the class, usually the same one of 5 or 6 hands that goes up in a class of 250. And I hope that one of them will know the answer, and that's digestion. And digestion uses enzymes. They might say enzymes in the stomach or enzymes in the mouth or the small intestine. And then I ask them, and then I click, and they show the rest of the class the answer. And the next question is, where does this happen? And I just told you where it happens, so I let kids tell me that. And then, if you click again, you should find a list of the places where all this happens. There you go. Are you seeing this before me? Because it just showed up on the screen. Is there that delay?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll try to live with it. And then what do? You take the monomers and you make bits that you produce by digesting plant material or meat for that matter, and you build it up, and you make more for yourself. That's anabolism, and these are terms that students, this whole slide has terms that students could be familiar with. I mean, certainly a lot of the young guys will know about anabolic steroids because they see it in the news all the time, so they've heard the word anabolism, and they connect it with body building. That's the sort of thing I try to tell them in class. Now I'm going to the new. How do you do this? After you know where in the body digestion happens, I'm asking how do you build polymers? And the answer is this complex pair of terms, dehydration, synthesis, or condensation. Now, we can go to the next slide. So the next click. I'm going to show them the biochemical bits of all of this. And if you want to click one more time, I tell them, I hope you're seeing this, I've drawn a cartoon of a polymer, a macromolecule that's going to be broken down. And it's an animated one. If you click one more time, they will see the animation.